Jalopy Races from Hollywood. Good afternoon, racing fans. This is Bill Welch. And once again, we're set to bring you one of America's most exciting racing events, Jalopy Races from Hollywood. We're up here in the grandstand at the fastest quarter-mile dirt track in the world, the famous Culver Stadium. And you're going to see some real daredevil driving today. And as usual, our ambulance is standing by just in case. So get set, folks. We'll be ready to go with our first race in just a moment.
One of those exciting hooligan races is on the first item of the bill of fare for excitement this afternoon here at the famous Culver Stadium. And out come some of the rail drivers and some of the newcomers, because some of those veterans like to get in on the fun and excitement of hooligan, but also it's a great chance for a boy who's never driven on the track before to see just what he can do. And because a lot of the pit crews grab a car at the last moment and come on out here, we don't always have all the names. For that reason, the management dispenses with the formal introduction of the drivers, and we just line them up and get them on their way. Now, the pole position is going to be Bill Ramos. He's the younger brother of Mario Ramos, one of our top drivers out here, and this is a baptism of fire for Bill to see what he can do. Bill Ellis is up there front also with 159, and I notice that Johnny Evans is driving 158. That's Dave Haskell's car, and Johnny Evans has borrowed it to bring it out here. Oh, yes, there's Jack Austin in 128. Jack is going to be driving George Brickman's car. George, I guess, just didn't feel up to it when it comes to driving in a hooligan, and I don't blame him. Well, assistant starter Norm Zahn starts them on their way, and let's see if they can get lined up in time to get that green flag when they come around here. Of course, they have other flags, too, but it looks like we're so close to a start, we won't have a chance to tell you about that right now. With Bill Ramos setting the pace, here they come toward that starting line. Looks very good, is good. There's the green flag, and here we go into that first lap. Bill Ramos jumping off into a big lead. He's going awfully fast as he comes around into that backstretch. Way too fast, I think. Here he is into the west turn. Starts to go a little bit high. The car is slipping and sliding. He's going out of control. I hope the rest of them miss him. Look out, Ed Garrett's trying to miss him. And Ed Garrett flips over there. The wheel breaks off the car. Almost bounces into somebody else's. And Bill Ramos is still stalled right there on the track. Out they run. Wait a minute. Something may be wrong with Garrett here in that car that's turned over. They want to get the wheel out of there, too. They're waving these other cars away from this stalled car, signaling for the ambulance. That's not a very good sign. They're in there now to try to help Garrett out of the car. Here comes the ambulance. No, there's the wave of the hand from Norm Zahn that indicates that it's not serious after all. Well, we're very happy to find that out. For a moment, it looked like we might have some serious trouble here. They're still trying to get him out of there, and a sort of a shaky boy at the moment as he gets on his feet. I think he's a little bit wobbly. They're saying, that's all right, Ed. You're a pretty lucky boy to come out of there with nothing wrong. Apparently not even a scratch or a bruise to show for that spectacular flip after Bill Ramos went completely out of control. They bring over the wrecker, and by the looks of things, it's going to be needed. In the meantime, let's take a look at the car ourselves here. The right front wheel broken right off. Here's the rest of the field getting realigned now in the positions that they had before, with the exception of some of the boys like, Ed Garrett here, who still isn't quite sure just what happened when that car flipped over. I don't wonder. That must be a very exciting moment indeed. And you see what happened to it. Look at the front end of that car. But you know, they'll go down to the junkyard, buy some spare parts, and that thing will be running here before too long in a future racing program. And so, with the signal from Norm Zahn, they start to go once again. Now remember, we don't have an official lap run as yet. This race hasn't officially started, and we've had plenty of excitement already. Bill Ellis is now moved across to the pole position. Bill Ramos, being responsible for the pileup, is penalized by being set back in the pack. So it is Bill Ellis on the pole at the present time. And here they come, around toward the starting line. Let's see if Jimmy Sheridan will let them go this time. They're in very good order there. He's giving them the green flag, and we're underway once again in this 10-lap hooligan race. 159, Bill Ellis trying to jump out in front there and see if he can take the lead. But on the outside, here comes 158, Johnny Evans cutting in front of him and taking the lead before one lap has even run. And the rest of the field trying to find a way to get by Bill Ellis. Also, look out, Larry Daigle in a bit of trouble there for just a moment. Straightened his car out and everything is all right. Moving up into second place, 128, driven by Jack Austin. They've both gotten by Bill Ellis now in 159. Austin setting out to see if he can catch up with Johnny Evans in 158. Somebody going up toward that crash wall. I hope he straightens his car out. And he does just before it looked like those wheels on the right side were going to take that crash ball and make splinters out of it. Into the west turn, the leader in the race, of course, Johnny Evans in 158. Here he comes at the end of 3 laps. And after him is Jack Austin in 128. And then we have Bill Ellis in 159. And the boys are really rolling at that same driver, almost in trouble once again coming out of that turn. And that bunched up field is going down the backstretch. It's a little bit dangerous there. Larry Daigle in the light car trying to get by Bill Ellis in number 159. He can't do it on the inside. And at the end of the 4 laps, Bill Ellis is still running third. Here comes Daigle at him once again with other cars right behind looking for a chance to get by. Out in front, it's a great 2-car battle here at the moment. Johnny Evans holds the lead in 158, and Jack Austin in 128 is trying to catch up with him. Wait a minute, somebody bumps, and it's Larry Daigle going broadside into the infield, raising a cloud of dust, and I thought for a moment we were going to have some trouble there. Jimmy Sheridan signaling the drivers, take it easy, watch out, we got a car in trouble. But I don't think he's going to bring the race to a halt because Daigle got off the track. Matter of fact, he's back on it and ready to go again. And here they are rolling by us. Number 159 driven by Bill Ellis. The 2 leaders way out in front there. Johnny Evans in 158 and then Jack Austin in 128. And then Austin really hangs on. He won't give up. And Evans isn't going to let him get by if he can help it. Still they roll in a great 2-car fight for first place. And despite the fact this is a hooligan, we've seen some great driving here in the last few laps, particularly by these 2 boys. Look how they go high in the straightaway, then cut down into the curves so they can hang onto the traction. 9 laps have gone by, and the rest of the field comes along. And wait a minute, we may have some trouble here. This is Bill Ellis being chased right into the crash wall. The boy that was running third, driven into the crash wall by another car there, and that automatically moves Clyde Smith up into 3rd place. In the meantime, our leaders are in the final lap. The blue flag has been out there. Bill Ellis is on the crash wall. I hope they cut it low when they come by inside, or we're going to have more trouble over here in the west turn. But here they come. The leader, Johnny Evans in 158, followed by Jack Austin in 128, and that's how they finish for first and second. And Clyde Smith, of course, driving 29, moved up there for 3rd place after Bill Ellis piled into that crash wall. The checkered flag, of course, is signal to all the drivers that the winner has crossed the finish line and the race is over. Great driving job by 158 here. Johnny Evans, who goes by to get the plaudits of the crowd once again. The official results, Johnny Evans wins it, Jack Austin 2nd, Clyde Smith 3rd. Well, this is what happened to Bill Ellis. The front end pretty well taken out of line there. They're trying to steer it, trying to push it into the infield, get it out of the way. And as they go by, you see the driver inside very nonchalantly smoking a cigar. How about that? I tell you, these boys don't frighten very easily. But in the meantime, they're coming out now for another race here. This will be 8 cars going 8 laps. 8 of the top drivers, and they have earned their positions based on qualifying times. We'll give you a look now at the official lineup here. Look at those names. If you've been following the Jalopy Races from Hollywood, you know that some of your top favorites are in this one, like Ed Van Eyck on the pole position there in car number 8. That'll be a big help to him. But some of the good boys are also at the back because this is a handicap race, and the faster cars are to the rear. Jimmy Sheridan starts off the introductions here, pointing first to Ed Van Eyck in number 8 and moving across to Bobby George in number 29. And then checking with the officials to make sure that they get that name right, that it is Bobby George, driving car number 28. There we have it. And into the second row, and this is Termite Snyder. Here he is waving at you. Drives car number 3, got his nickname because he runs a termite exterminating service. Eddie Hodges in 54. In the next row back, Andy Anderson in 137. And beside him is Hal Bergman in car number 60. Another row back, and here we come to a couple of top drivers. Here's the top point winner in the last year of competition, Fred Russell in number 1. And this is Don Noel, one of the greatly improved drivers, a real newcomer, but a great driver in number 88. A wave, and off they go, starting to roll into that east turn, with Norm Zahn sending them on their way, and the newsreel cameraman recording the scene as they go by. Everybody seems to be underway except where are Fred Russell, and here they come. First of all, Don Noel, and then Fred Russell. Finally got all 8 cars going, and the fans applaud because they know some of the top drivers are out there, and we should have a tremendous race for you this time round. Here they come, in good order. There's that green flag from Jimmy Sheridan, and here we go to the first lap of the race. Look at that bunched up field heading into that turn. Ed Van Eyck getting out in front in number 8. Somebody's in trouble. It is Bobby George in 28 pulling to the outside. The rest of the field goes on by him. But Ed Van Eyck holds the lead as he comes out of the turn. At the completion of the first lap, Termite Snyder is in second place in car number 3. And they're really rolling with Andy Anderson up there right at the moment, 137. But look at that Fred Russell from clear in the back row. He's coming on the outside. He's already up to third place. He's up almost in a tie for second with Termite Snyder at the end of just 2 laps of racing. Trying to catch up with Termite Snyder in number 3 and Ed Van Eyck in number 8. What a driving job. It's tough to do it on the outside. He's past Termite Snyder. He's up even with Ed Van Eyck. And he may take the lead. Let's see if he can get ahead of him here as he comes out of the turn at the end of the third lap. And he is going in the lead. Fred Russell in a tremendous driving job. And say, look at that Don Noel. He was also in the back row in car number 88. Coming up there also. Look out. Ed Van Eyck guns it a little bit. Gets back in front of Fred Russell. Russell had the lead. Then he lost it. Now he's trying to regain it as we're halfway through the race. Here he is stepping on it once again as he goes into that east turn. Gets about a half length in front. Can't get far enough in front. Now he does get far enough. Let's see if he's going to cut him off here. Termite Snyder comes by on the inside of Ed Van Eyck. Look out, they're bumping wheels down there in that fight for second place. Right behind them is Don Noel, who's come roaring from clear back in the back row also. Fred Russell getting way in front. Don Noel is already up to third place as he cuts inside of Ed Van Eyck. And he'll see if he can get by Termite Snyder in car number 3. What a driving job you've seen by Fred Russell in number 1 and by Don Noel in number 88. Both in the back row. Look out, Ed Van Eyck starts the broadside there but straightens his car out in time. Andy Anderson slips by him to take 4th place, and that puts Ed Van Eyck back to 5th position. Here's Don Noel in number 88, trying to catch up with Termite Snyder in number 3. They only have a lap and a quarter to go. The blue flag is out, signaling the boys they're in the final lap. Look out, Jimmy. Those wild men are on that track. And into the east turn to go, and Don Noel trying to find a way to get by Termite Snyder. He can't do it, I don't think. In the meantime, they're both after Fred Russell, but Fred is way out in front and a brilliant driving job. Here he comes with that checkered flag, and the winner is Fred Russell. It's close for second, and it is Termite Snyder across just ahead of Don Noel as we saw it from here. Just remember that. Fred Russell, number 1, from the back row. Don Noel from outside in the back row to finish 1st and 3rd. Termite Snyder was in the 2nd row when the race started. He finished 2nd. Here are the official results. Fred Russell in number 1, the winner. Termite Snyder 2nd in number 3. Don Noel is 3rd in number 88. And so now we'll get some of the cars off the track. Eddie Hodges is the first one through the gate back into the pits. And let's see who else wants to get off of there. There goes Don Noel. And now, before the boys get set for the big race coming up, we're going to show you our exciting special feature, the Crackup of the Week. We're ready now, folks, to bring you the Crackup of the Week. Each week we'll show you pictures of some of the most exciting accidents ever filmed. Pictures that our special cameras have managed to get during these races. And as an added attraction, we'll meet the driver who was actually in the accident. Watch closely now as we take a look at this week's Crackup of the Week. They were heading into the west turn. Watch it. Over he goes, and bang! Let's see it again. Tough luck, Tommy Monroe. Now here he is in person.
Tommy Monroe, whom we sometimes call Tough Luck Tommy, am I right?
All right.
You don't mind if we mention that now?
Not at all, Bill, because it's a fact.
You have had a lot of tough luck, haven't you?
I've had a lot of luck, and it's all bad.
I see. Do you recall any bad ones that you've been in, Tommy?
Yeah, just recently, coming in this turn out here, and my roll bar got on top, and my roll bars come down on me, and I was busted my helmet, and I didn't know about it for a couple of days, but...
Well, you were a little groggy afterwards, huh?
Yeah, I come out of it all right, though. I feel pretty good now.
Tommy, you're going to stay with racing, though, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm trying to go up all the time. I don't know, I got a bigger car coming out and a higher class car. I hope to make it go.
Well, wonderful.
Hope my luck changes, though.
Yeah, we can forget about the Tough Luck Tommy part one of these days, we all hope. What do you do for a living?
Experimental machinist at Bendix Aviation.
That sounds like a pretty interesting job, too, huh?
That's a fine job. Real proud of it.
Fine. Thank you, Tommy, very much. Nice to have you with us. Tommy Monroe, folks. Now let's get back to racing.
They're lined up now for one of those exciting 15-lap races which bring out a field of 16 top qualified cars. A lot of the big-name drivers are out there ready for this one. They've earned a place here with fine qualifying times earlier in the day. So let's see now what they can do as the competition is about to get set, and we'll give you a chance to check over the official starting lineup. There they are, some of the veterans like Ed Van Eyck and Dick Elliot, the boy with the number 1 car, Fred Russell, based on having won the most points in the past year of competition, and then there's Termite Snyder in his number 3, and lots of others. And out of that group, you ought to be able to pick one that's going to turn out to be the winner of this exciting race. Some of the boys you've just seen in action. Let's see if they can repeat the fine performances that they showed you earlier when they were out there in competition. But right now, let's meet the drivers as Jimmy Sheridan points first of all to Ed Van Eyck in number 97, and then to Dick Elliott. Here he is in his car number 20. Back in the second row, number 60 is driven by Bob Russell, and number 42 by Dave James. And in the third row, we've got number 44, driven by Ted Rosenberger, and beside him is plump Glen Wallace in number 57, a big boy in a little car. Here's Bob Ross in number 6, and beside him, the top boy in those points, Fred Russell in his car number 1. Another row back, Don Noel. He's driving the black number 88 in this particular race, and beside him is Armand Wahl, who waves to you now from car number 65. And then another row back, and it's Wee Depauw in number 72, one of the smallest drivers on the track. And here he is, the Termite man, Termite Snyder in number 3. And behind him we've got Bill Mitchell in number 9. And that rough, tough bad boy of the track, Scotty Cain, in car number X. And in the very back row, placed there because they have the top qualifying times, this is Andy Anderson in 137. And beside him is Howie Douglas in car number 181. The signal from Norm's on, and the cars start to move. Getting underway here for the first big lap of a 15-lap race as Jimmy Sheridan comes back after having checked all the drivers to make sure that the safety belts are all fastened, the shoulder straps in place. They have their crash helmets on and their goggles. Look out, almost got run over there by number 6, but everything's all right. Some of the boys set out for a hot lap here, apparently want to just wind up the engines a little bit, but they'll slow them down as the crowd expectantly waits for one of the great features of this particular racing program. Here they come in nice formation now, rolling up toward that starting line. Let's see if Jimmy Sheridan likes it. He does. There goes that green flag. And we're underway in this great 15-lap race. Immediately, of course, Ed Van Eyck in number 97 guns it hard to try to hold that pole position that he gained earlier at the start of the race. Let's see if he can hold off the rest of the field. Dick Elliott in number 20 on the outside, giving him a rough time. And as they roll into the east turn going into the second lap, Ed Van Eyck is about a half length in front, and that is all. Right beside him is Dick Elliott in car number 20, and Bob Russell in number 60 is running third here at the moment. Around to complete lap number 2, they go by us once again. And you notice how that field is all sticking together. They're really driving in there. A lot of rough, tough action. Bob Russell in third place, started to slip and slide just a little bit. He's getting a bump here as one of the cars comes up beside him and hooks his wheel. Look out! Bob Russell slipping and sliding. They're going into the fence more than Bobby Ross is turning over. His car is on its side there. And we've got Bob Russell in the foreground. 2 cars in the background coming back down off the fence. One is number 9 there. You can see it, driven by Bill Mitchell. But what about Bob Ross and that turned over car? They haven't gotten him out of there yet. They're still signaling the other drivers to take it easy, stay away. And let's see if he is hurt. I don't know. It takes a long time to get him out of there. He might be injured. Let's hope not, though, because he's one of our top drivers. The ambulance, of course, is on its way in case it may be needed. And in the meantime, they're trying to make a quick tire change on Glen Wallace's car. There's that wave of the hands that means that Bob Ross is okay. And here he is, completely unshaken, apparently, by this experience. They roll the car back on the wheels. Bob Ross's first concern is not about himself, but about old number 6, to see whether it'll still run, whether it's all right. He points to something there that has him a little bit concerned and goes on back to check on the car further. Here they are looking underneath somebody else's automobile to see what shape it is in. Trouble all over the place here today, and they want to see if they can get Bob Ross's car back out there so it can run. Look what happened to Andy Anderson's 137. Talk about getting rammed from behind. He really caught it. All right, I think we're ready for a restart here as they line the cars up once again and get some of the debris cleared away. Moving Ross's car back into the infield. They'll have to do a little repair work on the crash wall. He really took that apart. And you know, Bob Ross may be out there and driving because that car doesn't look too bad. On the restart, as they line them up, we've got Dick Elliott in number 20 and Ed Van Eyck in number 97 up in the front row. And they're going to start double file here as we'll go into the 4th lap once again of this particular race. So they start to move with Ed Van Eyck in 97, setting the pace. And if they hold positions like this, we can expect that green flag the next time around, and the race will be resumed. And imagine Bob Ross in the middle of that pileup, about 5 cars in all figuring in it, and still his car is able to run. I wonder if that could happen to your old bus if you flipped it on some street corner someday. Down the backstretch, a very slow pace being set here by Ed Van Eyck. But that's what the officials like. It gives all the cars behind a chance to move up in a close order formation such as you see here. And then as they come out of the turn, of course, the object is to gun it, and they pick up speed. Up they come toward Jimmy Sheridan. He's waving that green flag at them, and just barely being missed by those cars, and here they go. Back into the race once again. On the inside, number 97 is driven by Ed Van Eyck. On the outside, it's Dick Elliot in car number 20. And look at that boy, Don Noel, in his black number 88. He's rolled up there already to catch up with some of the rest of the field. Look out, we got a wheel coming off Scotty Cain's car. Look out for him, he's out of control. He's skidding, he's plowing the furrow right through the middle of that infield there as he skids out of control and the wheel rolls off into the pits. But at the end of 4 laps now, out in front, number 97, Ed Van Eyck. But I don't know whether he can hold it because Don Noel, who's come from halfway back in the pack, is going by him in car number 88. You saw Don Noel do some tremendous driving jobs earlier. Look what he's doing now as he tries to get first place here at the end of 5 laps now, away from Ed Van Eyck, and he has it. He's got a hot car today. He's really going. They may be checking on him later to make sure that everything is perfectly legal in that automobile with the tremendous speed that he is showing. And there's Fred Russell. You've seen him drive better, of course, than most of the boys in some of the races, particularly one earlier today. And here he is, taking it the hard way on the outside where it's tough to hold the car. And moving up, even with the second-place car, Ed Van Eyck. Termite Snyder's right behind there at number 3. He wants to get by Van Eyck if he can also. But it's Fred Russell trying to catch up with Don Noel. It's going to be tough to do. Don Noel is already a full quarter of a lap in front of the nearest car to him. And at the moment, it's Ed Van Eyck in 97, though Fred Russell is threatening to take things away from him here at any moment. Moves a half length in front. Don Noel comes back out there, holds his position. At the end of 8 laps, Don Noel is still rolling beautifully, and Fred Russell is going into second place, I believe, if he can hold that position. Around he comes, out in front of number 97, and Fred Russell has moved into second place over car number 97, driven by Ed Van Eyck. And at the end of 9 laps, it is Fred Russell now clearly in front by 2 lengths as they head into the east turn. And the rest of the field rolls up on them also there. Termite Snyder at number 3 wants to find a way to get by Ed Van Eyck. And at the end of 10 laps, the leader, of course, is number 88, driven by Don Noel. There you get some idea of how far out in front he is. Though Fred Russell may give him trouble. Andy Anderson in 137, the car with a stove-in back end there. Moving right along, and he gets by Ed Van Eyck to put himself in 3rd place. But it's a beautiful lead for Don Noel, and one of the great driving jobs for him as he came from halfway back in the field. Fred Russell was also same distance back there at the start of the race, and now he's up into 2nd place. But got a little bit of a bump there by Termite Snyder, still trying to get by Ed Van Eyck with no luck as yet. At the end of 12 laps, Don Noel is still leading. Fred Russell is second and number 1, but he's getting a terrific battle from Andy Anderson. And in 4th place, it's Ed Van Eyck in number 97. 5th place, it's number 3, driven by Termite Snyder. Howie Douglas in 181 has come clear from the back row to get himself into 6th place. And now at the end of 13 laps, Don Noel out Sunday driving, as our Jalopy boys would say it. Keeps rolling along. Andy Anderson making a bid. Look out, I think there may be some trouble further up the track there. No, everything is clear at the moment. And as we thought we were going to have some difficulty, but it's Andy Anderson out in front. In the meantime, some of the boys further back in the pack are bouncing each other around, and Ted Rosenberger and Wee Depauw start to roll in on the blue flag. They've crashed into the wall there. Look out, here comes Fred Russell and Andy Anderson. Andy bounces off the side and knocks himself right out of 3rd place. Look out, can the rest of them get by? I think they can. Yes, they do. They do make it by. From the checkered flag to the winner, Don Noel, to Fred Russell, who was 2nd, and to Termite Snyder, who moved up to 3rd place with Andy Anderson taken out because of that collision. Got a little trouble over here on that crash wall. That's Wee Depauw, number 72. And also in on the Crackup with him was Ted Rosenberger in car number 44. And as you can see, a badly damaged radiator for Wee Depauw, and the cars still are going by. And finally, we get the big A-frame wrecker over here to see if we can straighten things out. They start to back in to try to move his car, as some of the other boys get their cars off the track and come in to check with the officials after a very exciting race. Look out, Fred Russell. After winning the race, they're still rolling by here. The race is all over, and Fred Russell almost piled into the back of the wrecker. Here's one that had a little trouble but got through the race, and there's a spare tire for somebody else's automobile, just in case it might be needed. And here's what happened to Scotty Cain's car. That right rear wheel that broke off and went flying into the pit. You remember that. And here is Don Noel, and his pit crew is calling to him. They want him to come on over because he did a tremendous driving job today to come from back there in the middle of the pack and on to win. And he's off to see the boys in a hurry. Here are the official results. Don Noel wins it in 88. Fred Russell 2nd in number 1. Termite Snyder 3rd in car number 3. And here comes the rest of what's left of old 72 as they tow it into the infield. Pretty badly damaged front end there, as the pileup took Andy Anderson out of the race. Tough break for Andy. He was rolling well, and he might have gotten 2nd place. But there just wasn't room for 2 cars to go by, with 2 more piled up on the crash wall. And there, of course, is Scotty Cain's number X in front.
That's it, folks. We hope you had as much fun watching these jalopy races as we had bringing them to you. So be sure to join us again next week for Jalopy Races from Hollywood. Until then, this is Bill Welch saying so long from Hollywood, California. Jalopy Races from Hollywood was produced and directed by Bert I. Harris. This has been a Harris Scope production.